next slide. Yeah. Before we create confusion, break is almost on. Yeah. Hi everyone. I saw that most people joined again online, but more people will join as we go, and we have the recording. In this presentation, Pim and I will present about Beep, and also giving a short introduction about what Beep is about, and mostly we will share updates. First, I want to make mention of the team. You see the names of the team members here. So there are also some shifts in our team. So April, for example, she decided to move on, and we have a new colleague, Michaela, who is in support. And you see Pim, Julia, and Ezra here on the slide. And hereby I also want to thank them for their work, for their continued effort and work. So for those who do not know what Beep is all about, Beep is just a name. You can also call it Beep app, but we thought, of it as a catchy name. And it's about helping modernization and digitization of beekeeping with a focus on bee health to support research projects now in BeGood, and also new projects in the future, and also work on nature and conservation of nature more generally related to biodiversity, for example. In the BeGood project, the deployment of the Beep bases was a very important step. Here you see a picture in Ghent, and I know Wim Verbeek is not very happy with this picture because of the hat he's wearing in the picture, but I'm happy you're laughing about it. So here they are being installed in end of 2019, early 2020. No, this must have been early 2020. So the first installation in the so-called tier 1 of BeGood. So you see here the 3 tiers. Most of you will be familiar with this as a researcher or as a participating beekeeper. Tier 1 was the partners, the research institutes, measuring for 3 years. Tier 2, other partners joining and several beekeepers. And then tier 3, lots of beekeepers joining. So you get a general impression. So almost 400 systems being deployed. But it's not just systems. So having a measurement system, a hive monitoring system is a great technology, and you can do many things with it. And Xiaodong has also shown what you can do with it. But we should not underestimate the handling of the data. And when I say handling of the data, I refer mostly to doing inspections and making notes of those inspections, but also collecting sample information, following checklists and protocols, and so on. Basically knowing where colonies are, the apiaries, which hive, what the characteristics of the hive are, the configuration, and what the beekeeper is doing and observing. So within BeGood, the Beep app is the core component of handling that information. We worked on interfaces to be able to upload sample data and make sure everybody has access to the raw data, adding research features to be able to check data collection and quality of data collection. And the current status is this. So this is a, well, not so easy to read overview of all the features of the main elements in stacks, in vertical stacks, the main features of the Beep platform, and then all the total overview of all the features. In pink are features that work for you. So something is happening automatically in the background, just to give you a general feel of the extent of it. And also here, another overview with a big thanks to Pensoft for helping in creating this, to show you the current use of the platform. So on the left-hand side, you see the number of users. That's around 3,000 active users. So not just in BeGood, but also wider, especially in Europe. And then just below, you also see that the app is translated. In the meantime, 13 translations. One has been added. Over 500 data categories. In yellow, just a little bit below, an idea regarding the total number of devices being connected, over 2,000. And this is not just Beep bases. So this is also systems created by other vendors or built by people themselves, like the B-Logger systems, for example. And 200,000 inspections being entered by now as well by beekeepers. So on the right-hand side, an estimate, obviously, 670 million bees being recorded, being administered using the platform. And so this is to give you a general idea that the use is quite intense, and Pim has, I think, halfway BeGood put quite a lot of effort in making sure it also performs. And so when you use a system and it has millions of data points, you want it to be still fast and respond immediately. So this is also part of our work. And then last but not least, the data portal that we built together with Pensoft. Pensoft did the coding of the data portal to collect and to share the data sets of BeGood. And you see here a screenshot with, let me see, 60 data sets at the moment in the data portal for research purposes. And at the end of the BeGood project, or slightly after, these will also come available publicly. And the last bullet is about Beep's contribution in the coordination of BeGood, data management, and also the exploitation efforts. And that is also why I'm wearing this t-shirt, because for Beep, we are very much interested to bring the platform further after BeGood, to make sure it is being used for research. A few updates I'd like to share with you. I will talk about the web app shortly, then about some data analysis that we are implementing on the Beep platform. Alerts, so Pim will take us through how alerts are integrated, linking to what Xiaodong just presented. The so-called RTC, Pim will explain what it is in a minute, a public dashboard, and then a view towards the future. So at the heart of the Beep platform is this tree. So you see here this circle, it's a visualization of the 500 data categories. And this is important because it means there is a standardized list of beekeeping terms, beekeeping and honeybee research terms. So how can we count Varroa, for example? Well, there is the bottom board counts, so Varroa that have fallen, but you also might use some soap, you also might use some powder sugar. So it's important that these things are defined when data is entered, so that for research purposes, you can actually compare data from different sources. And on the top-hand side, you see what that looks like in the interface. So somebody can just click a box and say, is this true? Is it not true? So every item in this tree has its own data entry type. And with great help of a whole group of people, this whole interface is translated in 13 languages. The Czech language has been added last. We are in Slovenia now, so I also put a question mark. What about Slovenčina? Well, that's the best I can do. Is it okay? It's okay. Oh, okay. Thank you very much. All right. So so might that be the next language? Is there interest in Slovenia for this platform? Then the translation is can be done. It's quite a bit of work, but it can be done. We also see that using digital tools in the apiary can be a challenge. Using your mobile phone or some other device, working with the bees, we all know that is not an optimal combination, let's say. So we developed again together with Pensoft an offline data entry method. We are in the final testing phase at the moment. It means that you can make a checklist. So from that big tree, you as a beekeeper or you as a researcher can make your checklist with your items, not too large, obviously. And then you can basically print it. So you can make a printed version of it. And you see these black boxes in the corners, and that is to help in digitizing this form. And so you make a photo of your inspection sheet that you fill out manually. You take a photo, and then in the Beep app, it'll look like this. It'll show you, hey, I found some text here, and this is how I interpret it by image recognition and character recognition. Is it correct? Please check. And in some cases, it might not work 100% because there is a smudge or the writing is not so clear. And then it will give you a red error to say, well, the recognition was not successful. Please check this explicitly. Right. So it's a means to be able to work offline, to print this checklist a few times, You might even use a whiteboard if you want, so you can write it and reuse it if you want. You make a photo and then you digitize like this. So we're excited about this feature because it's quite advanced, you can say. Then regarding the use of data, this is a typical picture of the raw data as you can see it in the Beep app. So there's weather data in the left upper corner from a weather station. There is temperature data on the right upper hand side. There's weight data in yellow, sound data, etc. But I think Xiaodong already pointed out there is a lot of value in the interpretation of this data, especially the weight data. So what we now implemented with help of an intern, Dieren Sanger, that worked with us, is to be able to compare hives, to basically see, and in this case, you see the temperature and the weight of various hives and see them alongside each other. But also to be able to take the beekeeper's actions out. You can imagine that if a beekeeper adds a honey super or removes a honey super, the weight will be influenced. Also, different colonies are different in size. Different hives have different weights. So to be able to compare any bee colony, it's important to take all those variables out. And Dieren was able to implement that in an algorithm. You see here at the top in black the raw chart of the hive weight, and in red the corrected, the net weight. So the algorithm is able to remove this bump, this sudden change, and this is based on inspections. So here the sensor data goes nicely in hand with the inspection data. The beekeeper removes the super, enters an inspection to say, I removed the super, maybe I did another check as well. So the system knows something has happened here. I need to remove this to be able to create this net weight. Then at the bottom, you see these same two charts. Actually, in red is the mean weight of at least 2 colonies. There may be more. In black is the specific colony that was selected. And you might notice on the y-axis that the weight is 0. It starts at 0. So this allows us the user to present a chart to say, you can look at this, for example, month chart or week chart, whatever you want to use. And it always starts at 0. And from that point, you can compare the trend, basically, the shifts in the net weight, in this case, between these colonies or between this colony and the average. So we're also excited here about this development to basically add more value to the use of the net weight, and that Pim will talk about that, to put alerts on that. So the alert is not triggered because the beekeeper has done something. No, the alert is only triggered because there is a shift in the bees. So on top of that, it is then possible to add standard deviation, for example, to then see what is the changes in the colonies that I selected for my mean. How does that compare to my selected colony? And is it significant? There are other measurements or other calculations you can add here as well, but this is the one we added for now. So there's a standard deviation to give you a feel for how different these trend lines are. Then I want to hand over to you.
Thank you, Martin, for the introduction. Xiaodong already explained that indeed the data of the Beep bases can be used for this machine learning model. And the circle would be round, let's say, for the implementation also of the knowledge that we gained from BeGood, if we could implement all the work that has been done again into this platform that beekeepers can use. So we created the alerts already at a previous stage in the BeGood project. Alerts mean it's actually a way to get, as a beekeeper, an alarm on a certain value that has been crossed in the automatic measurements. So if you put a Beep base under your hive and you set a value, for example, the deviation of weight cannot be larger than 2 kilograms. And if it goes over 2 kilograms from one measurement to the other, or from one day average to another day average, you will get a message. So this is already implemented, and it has some default alerts that you can actually copy to your own account. So for example, swarming, you could set an alert if the decrease of weight is bigger than 0.5 kilogram. And you can set a lot of details in the alert. So you can set the alert to trigger immediately if a new measurement is coming in, or you can say, I want this alert to be triggered on an hourly average of the measurements that come in. And you can say, I want an email, or I want the alert only in the app. So you can even say, I want the alert only for certain hives, or only in certain months, or only at certain hours. And this is the basic alerting mechanism that we built in. The default alerts that are available now is, for example, battery voltage low, brood temperature low, food supply low, hive stability and theft, hive temperature low, honey harvest, no measurements, swarm left, or temperature sensor defect. So these are all specific implementations of the alert algorithm with one measurement as a basis. So what we actually build now, also with in mind the knowledge that has been created in the BeeGood research, if we would like to implement it, sometimes it has to do with not only one measurement value, but multiple measurement values. What we did is we extended the current alerting mechanism to be able to calculate multiple formulas. So if you add actually one formula, you will get two formulas that you can edit, and also base on different measurement types. And you can say, if you want to evaluate the formulas both with a true, then the result will also be true, or either will be true or false, then the result will be true or false. And in extent to these multiple formulas, we also created the way to actually include the research that has been done into the Beep platform. And I will take you a little bit along this complex picture. The alert rule 2.0, we've called it now, is actually an alert rule that does the same as the former alert rule. It evaluates formulas. And the difference is that it now can evaluate multiple formulas. But also with the evaluation of multiple formulas, you have another difficulty actually coming in, because a formula is based on a measurement, and a measurement can be raw weight, temperature, or the weight deviation. It might be that you would like to interpret the temperature averages in another interval, for example, on daily averages, or even on daily cumulated mass. And that from the other formula, you would like hourly values or monthly values. So we created a new item inside the Beep model, and that's the calculation model. And in this way, we can actually have multiple time series and also multiple interval series evaluated by multiple formulas. So we can actually adhere to a lot of research that has been done and would like to be implemented in the Beep system. For example, for Work Package 5, we already saw that Xiaodong created this really interesting model that would be very interesting to test in real life, and to have different weight systems or different weight measurements as a basis. And we could set as a calculation model source an external formula that can be repeatedly evaluated, for example, every day, every hour. But also the system that Work Package 2 created, for example, the average mass accumulation could also be one of the values that is gotten from the database directly, and that every hour can be evaluated and the features can be extracted from that and can trigger an alert rule formula to evaluate true or false. So in this case, we can, with this addition, we think we can supply a system that before the end of the BGood research, we could even include the results of the BGood project into the BEEP app. And this is a very nice addition because we could actually use a lot of interesting results from the BGood project directly and provide it to the beekeeper. So as Xiaodong already showed, this is an example of how the measurement system could be incorporated into the BEEP app. And if a certain trend in the survival rate would go under a value that the beekeeper set, for example, 0.5, and the beekeeper will get a warning if this model evaluated to below 0.5 for several days, for example. And then the beekeeper could get a warning, go to your hive, do an inspection, and actually check on your bees. Because according to the model, the survival rate will be lower than you would like it to be. Okay. To the hardware, RTC means real-time clock. We discovered also from the BGood project that it can be sometimes very hard to have continuous data in your measurement system. And this is actually one of the most important important features of a measurement system, that you can have continuous data if you would like to have that for a research project. So we made firmware updates and slight hardware updates on the BEEP-based model. And every BEEP-base can now actually include a real-time clock. That's a little piece of hardware. You can just buy it for a few euros. It's a very easy thing. You can insert it into the slot of your BEEP-base, and it will always keep the correct time like only milliseconds drift in a year. So you will always be able to upload data that is continuous in time, even if the BEEP-base has no connection. And you could even set up a no connection BEEP-base so that the energy consumption is even lower than it is already, and that you still have a continuous time series data if you download the data afterwards with the BEEP-base. So this is also a nice addition that we did, also evaluating what we have seen in the BGood research project.
Then the last few slides, talking about the dashboard that we created. So this is a means to be able to present the data, not necessarily needing an account, right? So beekeepers and researchers can use this to also communicate to others, to show like this hive is in this location. You see at the top, you see a name of a hive. In this case, several hives are shown in this dashboard, the location of the hives and the last inspection data. And then the data also from sensor measurements. In this case, still the raw data, plus some tips, let's say, on some chart interpretation that can be done. Dirk also showed it on one of his slides in terms of what can you see from these charts. Last few slides regarding a look towards the future and outlook. So one of the things is the Bee Health Data Portal, beehealthdata.org, and the availability of the BGood data sets in due time. We will be communicating about that also in due time. And already 60 data sets are there. And also the use of the Bee platform, again, why we are wearing this t-shirt. And if you want this t-shirt too, please let us know. using the B platform for research. So yeah, it's an open source platform. It makes use, of course, of the B base, but it can also be used without or with your own system. And what we like very much is we also see now also other types of uses. So the University of Cambridge now uses it for bumblebee colonies. Thank you, Emma. Bumblebee colonies, measuring, actually using the same measurements, weight, temperature, and sound. So we're excited to see the results of that. And also, and this will also be a subject in the survivors task force of Colos, the wild roaming honeybee colonies, and doing research on their survival, basically. Do they stay in that cavity, in that tree, for example, or do they actually die? And a new colony comes. How do you know? Because there's no beekeeper. People cannot keep an eye all the time. So looking into technology application, using sensors, but also inspections. So these are exciting new developments. Why? Also because we like to continue with the sustainability of the BEEP platform, make sure it's sustainable and viable, financially viable towards the future. Last slide is a thumbnail or a screenshot of the poster that we created. It is on the wall next door. It will also be presented during Colos, and yeah, me and others have also been busy on social media, so it's already there on Facebook and Twitter and so on. Regarding sharing how it can be applied. So 1, configure your research project, collect data and monitor the completeness of it, and then analyze and use, and very much so, including own algorithms and models. So that's where I like to wrap up. And for questions, yeah, of course, we are available during lunch, and then we will have the panel discussion as well, where questions can be asked. Thank you.